Commander Vex-Nine adjusted his bioscanner for the third time, wondering if the device was malfunctioning. The readings from this so-called Earth were absolutely ridiculous. How could a planet this chaotic produce anything worthwhile? Are you sure we have the right coordinates, Zara? He asked his intelligence officer, a tall Krillian with 6 arms who was currently using all of them to operate different monitoring devices. Positive, Commander, Zara replied, her mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among her species. Though I'm beginning to wonder if our information brokers were having a laugh at our expense. The Galactic Council had sent them here to investigate reports of an unusual species. Apparently, these humans had been causing quite a stir in several nearby systems. Not through conquest or advanced technology, mind you, but through something far more disturbing to the established order: sheer, stubborn unpredictability. Look at this, muttered Dr. Kale, their xenobiologist, pointing at his screen with one of his tentacles. They keep animals as companions? Not for food, not for labor, just for emotional support? Commander Vex-Nine snorted. Ridiculous. No evolved species would waste resources on non-productive creatures. That's when their long-range sensors picked up something interesting. A small residential structure in what appeared to be a suburban area. Inside, thermal imaging showed 2 life forms, one large, one extremely small, and wait. Is that a quadruped? Zara asked, zooming in on the 3rd heat signature. Appears so, Dr. Kale confirmed. Feline species, approximately 4 kilograms. Curious. It's positioned between the larger and smaller humanoids. Probably guarding its food source, Commander Vex-Nine concluded with typical Nexarian practicality. Standard predator behavior. Oh, how wrong he was about to be. The larger heat signature, which they now identified as an adult female human named Maya Torres, had left the smaller signature alone with the quadruped. The baby, barely 6 months old according to their bioscans, lay sleeping in what humans called a nursery. Fascinating, Dr. Kale whispered. The adult has abandoned the offspring. The quadruped should be attacking now. Instead, the cat, a orange tabby named Mr. Whiskers, though the aliens didn't know this yet, settled down beside the crib. His green eyes remained alert, ears twitching at every sound from outside the room. Why isn't it eating the defenseless young? Zara wondered aloud. Perhaps it's waiting for optimal conditions, Commander Vex-Nine suggested, though something about the creature's posture bothered him. It looked less like a predator and more like a guardian. That's when the real show began. A window on the ground floor made a soft creaking sound. Mr. Whiskers' head snapped toward the noise immediately, his fur beginning to bristle slightly. The aliens watched in fascination as the cat's pupils dilated and his body tensed. Intruder, Dr. Kale announced, checking his sensors. Another humanoid, entering through the lower-level access point. Finally, Commander Vex-Nine said, settling back in his command chair. Now we'll see some proper predator behavior. The quadruped will either flee or compete with the intruder for the easy prey. Mr. Whiskers did neither. Instead, he positioned himself directly between the nursery entrance and the sleeping baby. His ears flattened against his head, and a low growling sound began emanating from his throat. Wait, Zara said, her voice filled with confusion. Is it defending the offspring? Don't be absurd, Commander Vex-Nine replied, though his certainty was beginning to waver. No species would risk its life for unrelated genetic material. The intruder, a burglar named Rick Santos, crept up the stairs with practiced stealth. He'd been watching this house for weeks, knew the single mother's schedule, knew about the baby. Easy targets, he thought. Quick in, grab the electronics, quick out. He had no idea he was about to encounter Earth's most underestimated defender. As Rick's footsteps approached the 2nd floor, Mr. Whiskers moved into what could only be described as a combat stance. His back arched, tail puffed to twice its normal size, and his claws extended with audible clicks against the hardwood floor. By the 7 moons of Craxus, Zara breathed, it's preparing for battle. Impossible, Dr. Kale insisted, but his tentacles were trembling with excitement. The size difference alone makes this suicide. The nursery door opened slowly. Rick Santos, expecting to find nothing more threatening than a sleeping infant, instead found himself face-to-face with 15 pounds of absolutely furious feline. Mr. Whiskers didn't hesitate. He launched himself at the intruder with a yowl that could have awakened the dead, let alone the Galactic Council's observation team. Sweet cosmic radiation. Commander Vex-Nine exclaimed, jumping from his seat. It's actually attacking a creature 10 times its size. The scene that followed defied everything they thought they knew about logical survival behavior. Mr. Whiskers clung to Rick's face with all 4 paws, claws fully extended, screaming like a banshee. The burglar stumbled backward, trying desperately to remove the furry missile attached to his head. This makes no sense. Dr. Kale shouted over the chaos. The risk-to-benefit ratio is completely illogical. Rick Santos, bleeding from multiple scratches and completely disoriented, crashed into a hallway table. A lamp fell, shattering on the floor. Mr. Whiskers, realizing his initial assault had been effective, jumped down and positioned himself in the nursery doorway again, for still standing on end, ready for round 2. The baby, incredibly, had slept through the entire encounter. Commander, Zara said slowly, I think we need to reconsider our assessment of this species. Commander Vex-Nine nodded grimly. Any planet where creatures would voluntarily risk death to protect unrelated young was not a planet to be underestimated. Continue monitoring, he ordered. I have a feeling we're about to learn something that will change everything we think we know about Earth. The burglar fled, Mr. Whiskers returned to his guard position, and 3 aliens sat in stunned silence, realizing they'd just witnessed something that would shake the foundations of their understanding of intelligent life, but this was only the beginning. The silence aboard the Galactic Council observation ship stretched for exactly 47 seconds before Dr. Kale broke it with a sound that roughly translated to what the blazing nebula just happened. Commander Vex-Nine was still staring at his monitor, watching Mr. Whiskers methodically groom his paws as if he hadn't just committed what should have been evolutionary suicide. Zara, run a full psychological profile on that quadruped immediately. Already on it, Commander, Zara replied, her 6 arms working frantically across multiple keyboards. But sir, the results are they're insane. Define insane, Commander Vex-Nine demanded, though he suspected he wasn't going to like the answer. The creature shows no signs of mental illness, no neurological damage, no chemical imbalances that would explain irrational behavior, Zara reported. According to every test we have, it's completely sane. Dr. Kale's tentacles writhed in frustration. Then why did it risk its life for genetic material that shares none of its DNA? It gains nothing. No territory, no mating opportunities, no food sources. It's completely illogical. That's when their communication array picked up an incoming signal. Maya Torres was returning home early from work, having received a security alert on her phone about a possible break-in. Oh, this should be interesting, Commander Vex-Nine muttered. Now we'll see what happens when the adult discovers the quadruped's reckless behavior. Maya rushed through her front door, immediately noticing the broken lamp and scattered glass in the hallway. Her heart pounded as she raced up the stairs, fearing the worst. But when she reached the nursery, she found baby Emma still sleeping peacefully, and Mr. Whiskers sitting proudly beside the crib like a furry sentinel. What happened here, Whiskers? Maya whispered, noticing fresh scratches on the doorframe and what looked suspiciously like blood drops leading toward the window. Mr. Whiskers simply meowed once and rubbed against her leg, purring. She's thanking it? Zara asked incredulously, watching Maya scratch behind the cat's ears. Impossible, Dr. Kale protested. The adult should be punishing the quadruped for potentially endangering the offspring through aggressive behavior. Instead, Maya checked the security footage on her phone. The aliens watched in amazement as her expression shifted from confusion to understanding to something that made Commander Vex-Nine's scales tingle with uneasy pride. Good boy, Whiskers, Maya said softly, giving him an extra treat from a container near the door. Such a good protector. She's rewarding it. Dr. Kale exclaimed. She's actually rewarding behavior that could have gotten it killed. Commander Vex-Nine felt something he'd never experienced before in his 97 years of life, doubt. Pull up the planetary database, he ordered. I want to know more about these companion creatures. What they found shattered their understanding of Earth completely, dogs who died shielding their human families from natural disasters. Cats who detected carbon monoxide leaks and woke sleeping households. Birds who warned of intruders. Dolphins who rescued drowning swimmers. And in every case, the animals gained nothing tangible from these actions. This is impossible, Dr. Kale whispered. An entire planet of species engaging in altruistic behavior across genetic lines? It violates everything we know about evolution. Perhaps, Commander Vex-Nine said slowly, we don't know as much as we thought we did. Zara had been quietly running calculations. Commander, if this behavior is standard for Earth species, we need to recalculate our threat assessment immediately. Why? Commander Vex-Nine asked, though he suspected he already knew. Because if their animals will fight to the death to protect humans, what do you think the humans will do to protect each other? The question hung in the air like a toxic gas cloud. Commander Vex-Nine pulled up reports from other systems where humans had been encountered. The stories were all the same, seemingly ordinary humans doing absolutely extraordinary things when their companions were threatened. A human freighter pilot who flew into a black hole's event horizon to save a ship full of strangers. Human medics who stayed behind on plague worlds to treat the infected. Human soldiers who threw themselves on explosive devices to save their squad mates. By the Great Void, Commander Vex-Nine breathed. They're all like that. All of them? Dr. Kale asked. Every single one, Zara confirmed, scrolling through incident reports. Humans have been documented sacrificing themselves for total strangers, for animals, for principles they believe in. And they call it normal. Down on Earth, Maya had settled into a rocking chair beside Emma's crib, with Mr. Whiskers curled up in her lap. She was reading a bedtime story, even though the baby was already asleep, and the cat was purring so loudly the aliens could hear it through their sensors. This is their strength, Commander Vex-Nine realized suddenly. Not their technology, not their military might. It's this willingness to sacrifice for others. How do you fight an enemy that considers dying for strangers to be acceptable behavior? Zara asked quietly. Doctor. Kale had gone very still, all his tentacles motionless for the first time since they'd arrived in Earth's system. You don't fight them, he said finally. You make sure they never have a reason to fight you. Commander Vex-Nine initiated an immediate course correction. Set heading for the Galactic Council homeworld. Maximum speed. Sir? Zara questioned. We need to file an emergency report, Commander Vex-Nine explained. Any species that can inspire that level of loyalty in other creatures is not one we want as an enemy. The Council needs to know that Earth isn't a planet to be conquered. He paused, watching Maya kiss her sleeping baby's forehead while Mr. Whiskers stood guard, ever vigilant. It's a planet to be respected. As their ship jumped to hyperspace, the three aliens carried with them a new understanding. They had come expecting to find a primitive world ripe for exploitation. Instead, they'd discovered something far more valuable and infinitely more dangerous, a planet where love was stronger than logic, where courage trumped calculation, and where a house cat would face down a giant to protect a sleeping child. The Galactic Council would never be the same after hearing this report. And somewhere in a quiet nursery on Earth, Mr. Whiskers continued his vigil, unaware that he'd just changed the course of intergalactic history with nothing more than fierce devotion and perfectly timed claws. After all, that's just what Earth creatures do. They protect what they love, logic be damned, and that, as three very shaken aliens now understood, was exactly what made them so terrifyingly wonderful.